Let's take a look at how we can get the most out of our Harbor Freight Central Machinery 5-speed drill press. First thing we want to look at is the owner's manual. Make sure you read, understand, and apply all the operating instructions, as well as the safety instructions for this power tool. And of course, make sure you have eye protection. This power tool doesn't make an awful lot of noise, so I don't know that you're going to need ear protection. I use it for a number of hours, and I didn't feel it was necessary. The first thing I do in setting up my drill press is I want to make sure that it's stable like any other power tool that I'm using. So I have a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and I've got to bolt it down to my Workmate 425. And then, as you can see here, I've got bolts running up through it that bolt the drill press onto that 24x48 inch piece of plywood, because I really don't want this moving around and causing problems with what I'm trying to do with my work. Anytime you're using a power tool, you need to make sure that you have the right type of extension cord. The cord on the right, the black one, is the power cord coming out of the drill. Then as an example, I put this older thin power cord here. This extension cord really doesn't have an awful lot of, it's not a very big pipeline for electricity. I'd recommend that you have at least a 16 gauge or better extension cord for this drill to be able to take advantage of the power that it has. I used this for probably on and off for 8 hours, and I used it with the 16 gauge wire, and I could see no problems with it whatsoever. So make sure you have the right power cord or extension cord for your drill press. You know, when this drill press came, it came with some kind of grease or cosmoline that covered all these surfaces that were shiny here. But you notice I'm beginning to get some rust down here, and that's because I didn't put anything back on top of it. So after I get done with this demonstration, I'm going to take some wax. I've just got some simple paste wax here. You could probably use anything with carnauba wax in it or car wax, so that you don't end up with rust on your plate like that, and perhaps spoiling some more delicate pieces that you might be working with. It's very easy to lose your chuck key, so make sure you get some kind of chuck key holder and attach it to your power cord. That way, no matter what happens, it's always attached to your device, and make it easy to reach so you can get to your chuck very easily. So find a decent chuck key holder. I think you can find them under $5 at eBay. Each time you're setting up your drill to work, you want to make sure that you're drilling perpendicular to whatever material you're working on. So that means you need to make sure that this platform is perpendicular to or set up correctly for your drill bit. And in order to do that, you need to adjust that silver bolt all the way at the back. You need to loosen that just a little bit. And then take a speed square and set that up right next to your drill bit. I'm going to come in a little bit closer. Hopefully that'll focus for us. There you go. And you can determine whether it's square or not and sufficient for what you're doing. Now, if you're going to drill at 45 degrees, obviously you have gauges back here that'll tell you how far. If you're going to tilt this to an angle, you can use that as well. But use your speed square to verify, and then you're off and running for the angle of drilling that you're looking for. You can also adjust the height and the position of this little platform with this guy right here. So this way tightens, and you can go this way and loosen it. And that allows you to shift it either this way on a horizontal basis or up and down vertically. And you also want to make sure that this hole is in line with your drill bit, so if you punch through, it's not going to damage your bit. It's important to select the correct drill bit and the correct speed for your drill for the material that you're working with. So I found this chart. It's called the drill press speed chart, and if I can zoom in there close enough, you can see it's by Wood Magazine. You can find it on the web, and this shows you the various drill types. And then I don't think I can get in close enough for you here, but what it does is recommends a particular RPM or revolutions per minute or speed for drilling. So make sure you put that as a handy guide for for when you're setting up your speed for a particular drill bit and a particular material, so that you don't burn out your drill, you don't ruin your work, your workpiece, and obviously you don't want to ruin your drill bits. Let's look at how you adjust the speed on this drill press. You notice I've got this unplugged here, so always make sure before you change this out that it's completely unplugged. Right here is a little knob, and what you do is you turn this, and that allows the tension. You notice in here there's a spring, and that spring pushes the motor in this direction and puts tension on this belt right there. So after you've loosened this, you need to push this in, and you'll see the belt loosens, and then adjust the belt to the position that you need for the speed you're looking for. All the speeds that you're looking for on this little chart up here in the lid right there. Okay? When you're done, make sure that you bring this back into place, that you have a reasonable amount of tension on this belt so that you get just a little bit of play. And after you do that, then tighten this knob back down, this little guy right here, and make sure he's nice and firm. After you've done so, check the belt again. Also, you're going to see inside of here, you can see some, I'm going to call it some dust or wear and tear from the belt. Little pieces coming off the belt. Make sure you check your belt, that it's not fraying too much, and it doesn't hurt to do that periodically to make sure it's not going to break on you. It's not a bad idea to have an extra belt if you feel you're going to be using your drill press quite a bit. It's not a bad idea to clamp your work to the little panel right here, this little stand, as often as you possibly can, because this does have a powerful motor, and if it catches this or it binds, this workpiece is going to have a tendency to spin out and hit you. So make sure that every opportunity you get, you put a clamp on your woodwork or your metal, whatever you're using. Also, I want to point out, some people have a tendency to plunge their drill bit directly down into the wood and just plunge and go all the way through. And I don't recommend that you do that. I'm going to show you how, and I can't talk. This is just loud enough that you can't hear me if I'm talking, but the point that I want to make is when you drill out a little bit, bring the drill back up, drill out a little bit more and bring it back up. I'm using a small piece for the sake of convenience, but you can imagine a 2x4 or a 4x4 that's a lot thicker. You don't want to overheat the drill, you don't want to overheat the wood that you're drilling into or metal that you're drilling into. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you bring it down, bring it back up, bring it down, bring it back up, bring it down, bring it up, and then go all the way down the rest of the way through, okay? And that way you're not going to overheat the drill, you're not going to burn your wood, and things are going to be much nicer. This drill press comes with two features that are very helpful. One is it has a work light that's on an adjustable arm that allows you to position it to see your work a lot better. Very helpful if you're doing more precision types of work. And also, like many other drill presses, it comes with a stop right here that stops your drill at a predetermined position. I did find, I've probably done a couple of hundred holes with this. I did find this little scale on the side to be very accurate. So you can use that as a guide if you want your drill bit to stop at a certain point. I recently converted a closet into a small pantry, and in doing so I needed to pre-drill some furring strips, because when I put the drills into the sheetrock and into the studs, I didn't want this cracking. So some of the lengths were about 72 inches, and I didn't want this moving around. Of course, I'm not showing it clamped here, but I did when I was working on it. Make sure you clamp it as often as you possibly can. But in order to make sure that the work didn't move incorrectly for me, I put out one of these roller stands. And I find these guys very convenient. I had one on each side when I did that project, and it made my work an awful lot easier, went an awful lot faster. And then I wasn't worried about balancing this or it flipping up on me or getting caught in the drill and spinning around. So anytime you have longer pieces, make sure that you have support on both sides so that it doesn't get squirrely on you. Sometimes when you're drilling your hole, especially on wood, you'll experience what's called punch through. And the back side of your wood will actually splinter. Now, when I was doing my furring strips for my shelving, I really didn't care because this was going against the wall. If this was something that was going to show or to have to be made into something else, then I would have put a piece of sacrificial wood behind it so that when I drilled down and punched through the first piece, it would penetrate slightly into here, and that's where your depth gauge on the other side over here comes into play. So you drill down through your first piece and let it just begin to pierce into your second sacrificial piece of wood. And that's going to prevent the splintering, either prevent it or reduce it significantly from happening on the bottom side of your workpiece. Well, I hope I've given you some good ideas on how to get more out of your Harbor Freight Central Machinery drill press. As always, make sure that you read, understand, and apply all the operational and safety instructions in your manual. Always, always, always make sure you have good eye protection on. So I hope this helped you out. If it has, please press like, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And as always, good luck on your projects.